Hello everybody, this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today I have a Use Your Scrap Stash project. I decided that I wanted to see what I could make just using my scraps. And so I came up with this project for today. Let me show you some of the supplies that I used. Now you'll notice that I don't have any paper out here. That's because all of the paper that I used, including the lining of my cards as well as the card bases, were made from scraps. Now that was a bit more challenging than what I thought. And so this is the deal. I had decided at artandsassy.ning.com that I would host a swap of using your scrap stash and to make 4x4 cards. Now you were supposed to make 2 sets of 4 cards each, and they didn't have to be the same, but each set had to be an obvious set. So they had to at least go together enough that you could tell that they were a set. So that was no problem. I had plenty of printed paper scraps to do that, because I mean, you only need what, a 3 3/4 or maybe 3 7/8 inch piece of paper. But what became challenging was I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could make the card bases themselves out of the scraps. And so I might have 2 or 3, enough to make 2 or 3, and then not the 4th. So I had to get really creative. So let me show you what I used, and then we'll get right to the project. These are some of the projects I used. I used some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I used Pear and Smoky Plum inks from Close to My Heart. Set those aside. I used 4 different colors of distress markers. I used Dusty Concord, Fired Brick, Forest Moths, and Worn Lipstick. So I used those 4 colors. Let me just set those aside and put them in their drawer so I can get them out of my way. Then the stamp set I used was from Close to My Heart. Now this is an exclusive stamp set that hostesses can purchase, and it's actually for making hostess thank you notes, but there were some phrases in here that I wanted to use, so I pulled that one out. And then I used this bling from Michaels. Now this is a pack that you can just get in their dollar spot, and this is a pink tone family, and it has different colors of pink, both pearlized and then more of the crystal type bling. So I used some of that on some of the cards. I used some foam tape and some various other things that I will tell you about in just a minute. So let's pull out the first set of cards. Now, before I go a little bit further, let me tell you that the other thing is the sentiments on them had to be general sentiments. They had to be fully embellished cards that you would be happy to send. Now, they don't have to come with envelopes or anything, which is good because, I mean, you could put them in a regular envelope like what you would put your A2 size cards, and there would just be some extra room if you were mailing them, but most of these are a little bit bulkier than what you probably want to mail. So this is the very first set, and I pulled one piece too many. So on this one we have Hello. Now this flower is from the stamp set that I showed you, as is the Hello, and I just used my distress markers to put the different colors of the flowers, and they're kind of the little lollipop flowers. And then this is where I put the bling. So I also put a white liner on all of the cards because so many of them are colored. This first set isn't as much, but I just felt like, one, it kind of finished off the card and gave it a more finished look. Second, it added to the weight. Some of the solid cardstocks that I found when I was going through my stash were a little bit thinner than what I like to use for card bases. So by lining them, it gave me that extra weight to make it feel thick and like a nice card. So there's the first one, the Hello. This is another Hello. Now this paper is paper, I don't even remember. I think it might be a Fans, I don't even remember. But it's paper I picked up from somewhere. And then to make it look like a notebook, I used, I have a Fisker's border punch that I can cut the little notebook shapes. And you'll notice both of these are at the top, but these two, whoops, I pulled my, need to adhere those pearls down a little bit more solidly. Sorry about that. But these 2 other cards are on the side, and the reason why is because in order to get to my full size that I needed for my paper, I had to have the lines going the right way, and I had to be able to cut my paper. So these ones I decided to do side loading There's a pink one and a blue one. You notice I put the bling a little bit differently on this side. And then the other two I had top loaded, and that was just so that the lines would go like they were supposed to go. So there are my 4 hello cards, and that's the first set. So I will set that aside. And I have no idea what all those card bases are. I just know that they were in my scrap stash. Some of them are coordinations, I know that, but the rest of them I don't know. So then the next one, you may remember several weeks ago I did a project where I showed you cards that I had made for my grandmother using the fruit kit from SEI. I think it was from March 2013, maybe, I can't remember. Well, I still had some scraps and I had to get kind of creative, but I made 4 more cards, and these are 4x4. Again, these stamps are from that stamp set. This ribbon on both cards is from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and they are all completely different, but they go together because they're all fruit. So I have 2 of them that say "You're the Best," and those were stamped using the Smoky Plum, and the other 2 say "Thank You," and they were stamped using the pear. The purple ribbon here and here are from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and then I did yellow ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon as well. So the paper's all different, but it still coordinates into a nice set. And I made the green ones opposite sides, purple ribbon going this way. The yellow ones opposite sides of the card, yellow ribbon going across. So it just adds a lot of interest to the set. And you know, if you wanted to put some little envelopes, or if you have an envelope maker and would like to make your own, you can make little envelopes for these as well, and they would be really nice. This one I don't think you would have to pay extra postage for, though I did pop this up, and to cut the circle what I did is I just stamped it, and then I used my 2-inch circle punch to punch those out, and that was a perfect size. So that's the second set. Now for the swap, that's all we needed, but I was kind of on a roll and I wanted to get some extra cards made up, and I wanted to see how many of my scraps I could use. So I pulled out this next set. Now these are a lot simpler. These are a lot darker in color, a little bit more elegant, and you'll notice that there's no bling on the front of these at all. I just put my pattern, there's not even a sentiment. What I did is I just took my pattern paper, and I know that these pattern papers are all from K & Company. I'm not sure which stacks they're from. Again, they were scraps. But the ribbon, the purple ribbon is Purple Passion from 3 Girl Jam, and the wine colored ribbon is Merlot from 3 Girl Jam. The bases, all 4 are different colors, as you'll see, but they all coordinate and they all match. And when you open them up, on the inside I have my white piece, and that's where I stamp my little hello. So that is the 3rd set, and so now I have a nice little stash of cards that I can just send a quick note on whichever set of these I decide to keep for myself. I can just send a quick note. They're all made up. Just took me a matter of a few minutes to do it. The hardest part was making sure I had coordinating papers. So there we have 3 sets of 4x4 cards, and I used my scrap stash. The only thing that wasn't scraps that was used was obviously the inks, the ribbon, and the bling. Everything else came out of my scrap pile, and I still have quite a few scraps. So why don't you pull out your scraps and challenge yourself to see if you can use them up to make simple, fun cards, just to let somebody know that you care. And in the meantime, remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.